All right, lads and ladders, let's do some unpacking and reacting because, well, that Xbox showcase was, well, it was something. Let's cue in the intro first. What it is, what it do, what it is, lads and ladettes. It's your boy Dakota Griswold of Gamers, Nerds, and Geeks United. Welcome back to the Grizz Reacts. This is a limited series where we have conferences and things like that, and I give you my full-on reaction and thoughts of it. And let's jump right into it. But it was a pre-show with your boy Jeff Keighley, and he had a few guests to wear, but then he had some surprises. And honestly, I will say this. I was definitely surprised with some of the stuff. I was pleased with some of the stuff. Now, even though it's not my cup of tea, but it kind of is at the same time, Dragon Quest XI Special Edition S, all of that kind of stuff, that's actually coming to Xbox on December 4th, straight to Game Pass. Now, when they said they was trying to be committed on getting more Japanese games, JRPGs, namely to the Xbox, they wasn't fighting around. They wasn't fooling around. They weren't pool sharking. None of that was done. They took it serious with Yakuza. Now they got Dragon Quest coming. Well, let's see if we can get some Persona. So shout out to Xbox for that, because this is a big get for them, for Xbox. And hey, look, man, I'm here for it. I'm here for it, and it's gonna be on Game Pass. They went all in on Game Pass. This is one thing I definitely can say, is that they definitely went all in on Game Pass for this showcase. Now, here's the next. They actually made a game called Exo Mecha. Now, it's gonna be a first-person, free-to-play shooter. But the thing, here's the thing with me, Fizz. In the beginning of this trailer, with all those familiar sounds, and on the same day where Crysis Remaster came out, I thought it was either a new Crysis or just some multiplayer based around it. I'm not even sure. But then I got a chance to see it. They did have exosuits and mechs, so it seemed interesting. It's also free to play, but it's not slated to come out till next year. But once again, it's a free to play game, so it's not really a big deal. But it does it looks really awesome, honestly. And then, of course, we got a game called Echo Generation. This game was made by the same people that made Riverbond, and it's a pixelated kind of rocky block, voxely, if you will, kind of game. But it actually kind of reminds you of Stranger Things, but it also has turn-based combat, and it actually looks pretty decent. Can't complain about that, not bad at all. Then we got Hello Neighbor 2. Now, I'm not a personal fan of the Hello Neighbor games, but I can appreciate what they are. They're basically a stealth game, and you think something's going on in your neighbor's house, and you're basically sneaking your way in there to try to throw some cameras around and see what's really going on. And this new one, it seems like you're playing as the man that you're actually running from in the first one. And, there's this creepy other new neighbor, and you're throwing cameras out and trying to get him. But then, obviously he's smart. So, yeah, this actually looks good. And then there's a game called Balan Wonderworld, and it's made by people from Sega and Square Enix teamed up. And this is Yuji Naka and Naoto Oshima. Those are OGs who made Knights. Now, if you're familiar with Knights, then you can imagine the creativity that came out of this game and this trailer, and it actually does look very fun. But then after that, the show finally opened up, right? And they actually showed exactly what they were going to say, what they were going to show. They opened up with Halo. And they show Master Chief basically arguing in a ship with some gentlemen, I guess, who rescued him, and Master Chief is saying, like, yo, look, I gotta save, once again, he has to save the world, save the universe, or whatever, because, stuff is gonna get destroyed, that kind of thing, the typical Halo story. But he jumped out the ship, and immediately they threw in some gameplay, and literally it looks exactly like what I mentioned in the previous video about it being a soft reboot. It looked like Halo 1, these big open areas, the guns look familiar, everything felt familiar. But one thing I didn't notice, maybe somebody could correct me in the comments, but I didn't see him aim down the sights. That's one thing I loved about Halo 5, is that they modernized the controls for you to aim down the sights, and it makes things a lot more fun, a lot more easier, and a lot more smoother. But then also, he definitely has a grappling hook. There were brutes, And they gave us maybe 2 solid minutes of gameplay, and it honestly wasn't enough. It just looks like more Halo. It really didn't blow me away, but that grab and hook, I was definitely astonished with. To me, honestly, it definitely looks like it wasn't finished. It wasn't finished, and they said it's supposed to be launching holiday 2020, but then it's also supposed to be this giant open world. And also, I also want to note is that he opened up a map at one point, and it seems like it had to happen to have objectives or maybe even side missions around the map. So it appears that they're going a bigger open route. I don't know if they're going to completely do full open world, but I'm still thinking that they might do what they did in Metro Exodus, where basically at every train stop, you could go and do some side missions and some side stuff. And once all of that's done, you continue with the story and move it on. Now, honestly, as a Halo fan who's basically played and finished every Halo, I am still excited. I absolutely love Halo, but this still wasn't enough. They gave us a nice long cutscene of the villain, who is definitely the top guy in the Banished, but it still didn't seem, it seemed Halo-y to me, if you will, but it didn't seem like enough. I wanted to be blown away. We hadn't really gotten a chance to get excited about a Halo game since like Halo 4. People were just okay with Halo, you know, and Halo 5, but it wasn't the big thing. Halo is the trendsetter, if you will, all the way back from the original Xbox. Halo is the Xbox mascot franchise. They need to go hard or go home with Halo Infinite. And then going on to a further article on Kotaku, they just basically said, Halo appears to be Halo Infinite is going to be around for like the next decade. Now, I don't know if they mean that in a Destiny sense or they're going to continue to just build upon it. It will be Halo Infinite, or maybe it's going to be Halo Infinite 1, Halo Infinite 2, or they really don't want you to expect a number franchise. But what are they really going to do? That's really a bit of a chin scratcher there, and I'm actually not too sure. And they didn't really give us enough Halo for us to say like, hey, listen, this is what it is, and they didn't show us any multiplayer. And then also the multiplayer beta has been delayed, of course, due to COVID-19. Now this year absolutely sucks for some game development, and honestly, I'm gonna cut them a little slack when it comes to Halo. Maybe not everything else, but I'm cutting them a little slack when it comes to Halo because COVID-19 possibly slowed everything down. But that's it for Halo because we didn't get a ton of Halo or a lot to discuss about it. Now, then there was a cutscene where there was a young lady in the woods, and she was basically sitting there survival. She was by a fire, had a crossbow, heard some stuff moving in the woods. I said, oh, okay, it's kind of a action horror kind of thing going on here. She screamed at whatever she saw was in the woods, which was hilarious to me. But she screamed, grabbed the crossbow, and saw something. Something was eating a dead deer or something. She looked up, and there was another deer, a zombified deer. And what was it? Yes, State of Decay 3, not my cup of tea, but this one seems to maybe be a little more story-driven. Not to say that the original State of Decay games weren't story-driven, but they don't really seem to be really planted within one story, because I do believe you can actually, or is it randomly generated? I'm not sure as far as the people go, but you can create and change the way they look. But with this specific woman, maybe she's a specific character in the story and in the game. Now it looks interesting. I can't wait to hear that about the fact that it's what it's going to look and as more as it unfolds. Now they gave us a new Forza Motorsport. That's just straight up what it's called, Forza Motorsport. Looks absolutely amazing, looks absolutely stunning, as most of these games always do. The Forza games are absolutely beautiful, but it won't be available for a while, not at 2020. Then we got a game called Everwild. Now I heard about this before, but yeah, it's coming from Rare. It's an animated game. It looks cool. It looks cool. It seemed to have like some type of people interacting with certain creatures. Very interesting creatures at that, but it doesn't seem to really, we don't really know much about it as of yet. So we didn't really get a chance to see any real gameplay for it, but yeah, let's move on to Tell Me Why. Tell Me Why is another one of those narrative adventure games, and yeah, it's something. It looks okay. It looks okay. It's going to be released in parts, go figure. Telltale seemed to be the trendsetter for these types of games. And then they said that an update for Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Now I have Ori and the Will of the Wisps. I have not opened it yet, and to be honest with you, I'm not even sure what I'm gonna get into it. It's definitely on the backlog. I definitely love Ori and the Blind Forest, but I can't wait to play Ori and the Will of the Wisps. And then they're gonna get an updated version for the Xbox Series X. And yeah, if you've played it already, go ahead and play it again for the updated version. And then we got a chance to actually see some gameplay for Grounded coming out July 28th, and that is just a few days. Now this game seems to be okay. It's made by Obsidian. It's basically a survival game where you're playing a child that's basically in the front yard and you're shrunk up. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, if you will, survival edition. And basically, I'm guessing you can play with people and you can just feed them to certain bugs and sacrifice. I don't know why I saw them fighting a ladybug, but then again, at the same time, me being a human-sized person or whatever and seeing a ladybug, they're not attacking me because they know I'm a threat and I can snap them like that. But I saw them fighting a ladybug, and ladybugs were 3, 4, 5 times their size, and just I guess maybe ladybugs, they know how to pick their battles. I'm not sure why, but definitely spiders. I don't mess with spiders, so I ain't playing this game. All right, I don't mess with spiders. You can get ahead and keep your spiders. I don't really. I don't get arachnophobia out here. I'm not playing around with that. And they said you can sacrifice your friends. So if I happen to play this game with a friend, I'm just telling y'all now, I'm sacrificing y'all to the spiders, and I'm out. That's just straight cheese. Then we got a chance to see some Outer Worlds DLC. It's called Peril on Gorgon, and it's basically some DLC where you're on a different planet, and it's just more story for it. And it actually looks very, very fun, very cool. Some new melee weapons, some new guns, some new character interactions. It says it's about 10 hours added to the experience, and it's coming out September 9th. Jeez, September's crowded, man. And now we got a chance to see another game by Obsidian called Avowed. Looks like Skyrim mixed with the first Lord of the Rings. And why I say that is basically in a quick clip, they had a sword in their hand, and then somebody did a spell with their fingers, and then it seemed like something that was on fire was coming through a doorway, like a freaking Balrog from the first Lord of the Rings. That's what I got. But then once you see the first person melee, you go ahead and immediately you start thinking stuff like Skyrim and stuff like that. So Avowed, it was just a quick reveal trailer, nothing too crazy, not no gameplay. And then we got a chance to see As Dusk Falls, another narrative adventure. But it seems to be one of those motion, I don't even know how to explain this. The art is awesome. It's like canvas painting or something like that, but people still look real. I'm not good at describing art styles, but it's like some type of canvas painting, and then it's motion, but it's not exactly motion. I can't explain it. It's a narrative-driven game, and I ain't into it. I'm just gonna be straight up real with it. So we got a chance to see some Destiny 2. Now we got Destiny 2 and all of its expansions. It's coming to Game Pass in September. So that expansion that got pushed to November, that's coming to Game Pass. That is a hit right there in itself. That I respect. They're giving you more reasons to keep Game Pass. They're giving you more reasons. It's awesome. It's stunning. I love it. And now I'm definitely going to get back into Destiny, especially the fact that I don't even have to spend my money on anything else. Now, here's the real interesting thing. We got a chance to see Stalker 2. Yes, Stalker 2, where you probably have never played it. If, like me, you've only been a console gamer ever. But I've heard about Stalker. I know what it is. It's a first-person action kind of thriller horror game that was only on PC. And I do remember that they are in the process of remaking the first one. And then now we got a console launch exclusive for the second one. It's coming first to Xbox, to the Xbox and PC on Game Pass. That's amazing. And if this game is going to be anything more amazing, just as amazing as the first one is said to be, then I'm all for it. I am all for it. Then we got a chance to get just a little bit of look at Hellblade 2, and it looks very, very good, and it seems to be coming along. Still not coming at launch, and it just wasn't really enough going on here. We got a chance to look at Psychonauts 2. I didn't play the first Psychonauts, but it was one of those weird Tim Schafer games, artsy Tim Schafer games, and it And then you got a chance to see Jack Black doing a little bit of voiceover and, you know, getting the chance to see what Psychonauts 2 is looking like. And it looks just as weird. So if you are a real Psychonauts fan of the first one, I think you'll be satisfied here. And then we got a chance to see from the people who made the SteamWorld games. They made a game called The Gunk. Now, what The Gunk is a 3D action kind of. She basically is walking around with kind of Luigi's Mansion vibes. The main character has this glove that actually sucks up like certain black stuff around the world, and you're cleaning stuff up. And then you're also fighting enemies. It doesn't show much, but it looks interesting. It definitely looks interesting. And I just, what are these games, man? Why aren't they showing more? But then, here's what got me really excited. And they slowly just introduced this Tetris effect that was on the PS4 with PSVR. Well, they actually have an updated version of it. It's called Tetris Connected. And now you can play online with people. And it has more content, basically. And it looks fun. I like Tetris. It looks prettier. But here's what got me, right? Now, there's a game called Crossfire X, multiplayer, right? Straight up multiplayer, and I do also believe it's free to play. But now, there is a game where they basically, Crossfire X has a campaign. And it looks dope. And it also looks like Crysis. You can go invisible. And you can sneak around and stuff like that. Honestly, I ain't complaining because I like first-person shooters, and when you get an overpowered exosuit and stuff like that, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. It actually does look fun. Explosions and Michael Bay type looking cinematic stuff. I am here for it. Then they got a Warhammer 40K Dark Tide. Now, honestly, when I saw this trailer, I thought it was GTFO that's on the PC. It's a Left 4 Dead type game where you're fighting creatures, and I believe alien creatures, and it's basically a survival game. But yeah, this game actually looked like it because they were walking in a tunnel. One guy was shot. He was holding his ribs. And it doesn't look like your typical Warhammer game because they don't have the hulking armor and stuff like that. But I love how versatile this universe is. But that ain't coming no time soon. It's, you know, so it says it's probably hack and slash and stuff like that. So we also got an update for Phantasy Star Online 2. This new Genesis, of course. But it's coming next year. But it's also going to be on Game Pass. Hey, it looks pretty awesome. We got a chance to see more Medium, where basically you exist in both worlds. Now that game it looks good, but it ain't my cup of tea. It's weird. It's like I think it's the same character on both screens, but she's experiencing the world on two different planes, and that's very interesting. I would like to hear more about it as it comes out. But now they ended with it. Right, there was this narrator. As soon as I heard it was like a British narrator, and it was like a fairy flying around, and she landed on a sword. As I was hearing the British narrator, I said, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is Fable." There was enough rumors going around, and then she was flying around, and then she got ate by a frog, and the narrator basically goes, "Yeah, not all happy endings happen here." And I said, "Oh, that's Fable. That's Fable." It was just a teaser. Optimized for Xbox Series X. Now, what Kotaku definitely pointed out is that certain games doesn't appear. It looks like Microsoft might be taking back the fact that you might not have to buy a Series X for the first 2 years because certain games did not seem to have the optimized for Series X, or it said it's only optimized for Series X. A good few games said it was there. Fable was one of them. Medium was another. A good few games looked like it was only coming to Xbox Series X. And I'm wondering if they're retracting on saying, hey, you don't have to buy it for the first 2 years. But if you do want to buy it, it's the best version. It's in its best form. So honestly, overall, I want to say that I wasn't feeling it very much. It was good to see certain games. I'm happy to see some Halo gameplay, but it didn't blow me away. Didn't see any Fable gameplay. I'm not really a fan of PSO2, but it looked pretty good. But really what I got most excited about, honestly, was Crossfire X and maybe Exo Machina. Those first-person shooters look really good. Crossfire X, the campaign for it, looks pretty good. It says optimized for Xbox Series X, definitely. But you could tell it was going to be one of those really pretty first-person shooters. The Gunk is actually one of those really interesting games for me because I like the SteamWorld developers, and I actually like their games. SteamWorld Dig, SteamWorld Heist, even though it was a turn-based strategy game, definitely was an interesting game for me. And yeah, this presentation just wasn't enough. A lot of people, honestly, I've seen online were just as disappointed as me. And I really still think Xbox needs to come through with the hits. But it appears that they, as long as they get you in that ecosystem, people's like, what do I need to buy an Xbox for? I'll just get Game Pass. You're still in that ecosystem, and Xbox is getting some bread off you. So, honestly, hey, it's okay. Well, I can't wait to see more later this year. And I'm really thinking late October, November-ish that these systems are coming out. And hopefully Halo Infinite looks and plays much, much better. But lads and lads, that wraps it up for the Grizz Reacts. Go ahead and share. Hit the like button if you liked it. If not, hit the dislike. It's all good. And while you're here, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button and scroll up to all so you know when your boy is posting. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, I'm wondering if you're disappointed as I am. But this video is finito.